Test, 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 test.
Okay, it is 10:35 a.m. We're ready to get underway. Please mute your phones and anything else that might go off. If you have anything to present to the board, since Jim Curran is about 1,000 miles south of here right now, Commissioner Bell is designated today as the Sergeant at Arms. And that means he receives any stuff you want us to read. We'll begin with an invocation, which he will do, and then Leal is going to do the pledge. You're welcome to join us in both. If you wish to, please stand.
Shall we please bow our heads? Eternal God, our Father, we come to you as humble as we know how to come. Thanking you for being the grand orchestrator of life. Thank you for being the supreme ruler of the world. And thank you for giving us all of your love. We thank you for bringing us here to convene and conduct business for the county. We thank you for showing your love to us every day, especially by exhibiting that love through sending your son Jesus to die so that we may live. Lord, we ask that you forgive us of our many sins and mistakes. And we ask, Lord, that your spirit works in us so that we may carry out your will for Marion County, for the state of Michigan, and for this country. Lord, thank you for all opportunities that you have given us to carry out your will. We ask that you bless every home represented here, touch the lives that were lost due to COVID and all other things. Lord, we thank you for all of what you've done, what you're doing, and what you will continue to do for the county of Berrien. Thank you for your grace. Thank you for your mercy. And let us all be mindful that even with all the collective knowledge and wisdom that we have, that you have all wisdom, all knowledge, and all power. Thank you, Lord. And these and all blessings we ask in your son Jesus' name. For his sake, amen.
Amen. Lee?
I mean our Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Bell,
Here.
Curran, Freeling,
Present.
Harrison,
Here.
Hinkleman,
Here.
Majerick, Meeks, Scott, Ballraff,
Here.
Werfel,
Here.
Yarborough,
Present.
Elliott.
Here.
Mr. Chair, you have 9 present, 3 absent.
Thank you. One of the absent, Commissioner Scott, contacted me. He had a medical procedure. He's doing fine. Just wishes the pain medicine hadn't worn off so quickly. He's home. Said he'd watched the 8:35 meeting, was going to watch the 10:30. And I told him we would all say hi, Ezra. So if you'll join me on 3 and say hi, Ezra, I'm sure it'll boost his spirits. 1, 2, 3. Hi, Ezra. Okay. The minutes. December 9 regular meeting and the December 16
December 9th.
special meeting.
Yeah.
Well, it says regular meeting for 9, special for 16 on my agenda. Okay. Yeah, I'm like an elected official without a teleprompter. I'm in trouble. Okay, so the minutes from last week, because today is the 16th, I think. Who wants to make a motion to approve the minutes?
Mr. Chair, I will make that motion.
Moved by Freeling, supported by Volrath. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those minutes are approved. Communications, I understand we have some.
Yes, you received a resolution from Alpena County Board of Commissioners supporting the American Rescue Plan State Match Program received on December 7th. You received 4 emails on December 14th. Nicole Ottomer Saunders, New Buffalo, supports the current quarantine procedures in place in her district and mask mandates in school. Deb Pickens, Lincoln Charter Township, supports universal masking and current quarantine policies in school. Tricia Kovac, St. Joe City, requests the support of the Berrien County Health Department on mask mandates in schools and following the quarantine guidelines. Sarah Helms, Bridgman, supports universal masking and quarantines. That's all.
Very good, thank you. We'll pause for a moment. Lee Lull is going to tell us about some folks who do a lot of work free of charge and a lot of good in the process.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Commissioner. Yeah, today we're gonna have a luncheon for all our volunteer drivers. It's been kind of a rough year with COVID and everything going on, but we've got a lot of diligent and dedicated drivers. So I'm just gonna have some prepared remarks here, and then I'll be done here. Well, we're gonna have Maureen come up here, and we're gonna give out some certificates and appreciation. The month of December marks the 23rd anniversary of the Disabled American Veterans Transportation Network, which began in Berrien County in December of 1998. It is a pleasure to work with all of these fine, dedicated volunteer drivers, because without them, there would be no transportation network for our veterans. We currently have 2 DAV vans that transport veterans to and from the VA medical, to and from their VA medical appointments, to the VA Medical Center in Battle Creek and the St. Joseph County VA Clinic in Mishawaka. The Michigan DAV van route has designated stops in Berrien, Van Buren, Kalamazoo counties before arriving in Battle Creek. The Indiana DAV van route has designated stops which begin in Stevensville and run along Red Arrow Highway down to New Buffalo and along US 30 or US 12 over to Niles before arriving in Mishawaka. Due to the current COVID-19 pandemic, most of the year would only transport 3 veterans at a time. So that was the limitation the VA gave us for this. Just recently, if veterans are vaxxed or wear a mask, we can transport more veterans. You only need a standard Michigan driver's license and pass a physical in order to drive. And we are under a heavy recruitment campaign for more drivers. So if you know of anybody who's interested, please have them contact their office. Let's see here. During 2021, up to today's date, our volunteer drivers have made a total of 121 trips and transported 201 veterans to and from their VA medical appointments in Battle Creek and Mishawaka. And I want to give a special record. Is Bob Smith here today? His power went out. He's from South Haven. Well, he made 34 trips this past year. So Maureen told me he's the one that did the most. Since he's not here, I'm going to talk about 2 of the others that have made a lot of trips too. Let's see here. Our second place winner is Tim Crate. Tim, are you here? Tim here? Okay. He made 23 trips to Battle Creek. How about Paul Donovan? Is he here? Oh, Paul, there you are. Okay, yeah, all right. He made 20 trips. So let's just. I'm not done, but I'm almost done. Okay. These stats include transports from Berrien County Veteran Services only and do not include the stats from the Niles Senior Center. They used to transport veterans Tuesdays and Thursdays, but due to their COVID and their having problems with drivers, they limited their transports to Tuesday to and from the VA Medical Center in Battle Creek. Today, we are going to honor the volunteer drivers at our annual DAV appreciation luncheon. This year, we're going to have it at Chili's in St. Joe. Again, I want to personally thank all the volunteer DAV van drivers for their dedication, flexibility, and service. I also want to give a special thank you to Jill Adams, the Director of Berrien County Parks, and the County Administrator Brian Bissett, and the County Commissioners for the 2022 Park Passes that will be given to each of our volunteers today. I also want to give a personal thank you to Maureen Adams. I couldn't do this without Maureen Adams. I'll tell you, she's a real trooper, and I really appreciate everything she does. She's our Assistant Veterans Benefits Counselor for all of her hard work and dedication in scheduling drivers, getting the certificates of appreciation completed, and for making all the arrangements for the appreciation luncheon today. Thank you very much, Maureen, and the drivers. No. Thank you.
The majority of our drivers were not able to attend today, but I'd still like to read their names in recognition. And if I may just add, our drivers really have a heart for helping people. In addition to driving, we have had drivers that have used their own money to give to their passengers who might need it for a place to stay for a night. We have drivers that use their own vehicle and time to take veterans to appointments outside of the VA. We have drivers that volunteer for Habitat of America. We have drivers who this year had their church sponsored 10 veterans for Thanksgiving meals and 4 families for holiday gifts. So our drivers really do a lot more than just drive for us. I have, if you are here, if you'd please come up and just stand in front here, we're going to have a picture before we leave for our lunch. And the first individual is Stacy Bruder, who is not here today. Jack Bly. Jack was a new driver. He is not here today. He came out from Paw Paw to drive for us. Paul Donovan. Oops. I didn't mean for that to happen.
All right. Well, thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Tim Hayes. Kevin Kellenberger. Tim Crate is not here with us today. Mindy Logan is actually on a run to Battle Creek today. Bob Smith is not here. He was intending to come and he's out of power this morning. And he drives down from South Haven to drive. Ned Wallenslagle. Tom Westgate. Don Hyatt. Don's not here. And Bruce Feldman. He's not here either. Brian, right over here is going to take a picture.
Okay. Good.
Got everybody in there?
Maureen and Lee, if you two would grab a shoulder.
Sure.
Okay, there we go. Thank you.
We're all going to leave. Yeah. Okay, thanks again. Appreciate it.
Yeah, we're gonna go ahead and head.
So long. Thank you. Get something expensive for lunch since
Yeah.
Lee's paying
It's
for
on
it. So. Okay. We had talked about requisition review earlier. Is this a good time?
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so I had a few questions from some of the commissioners with regard to some of the requisitions, so I'll answer those if that's okay, and then if we have any additional ones, we can do that. First of all, I want to slip this thing to Julie. So Julie's abstaining for a couple of them. Yep. I'm gonna have her sign that. So the questions that I had were about the Southwest Michigan Behavioral Health payment of $355,724. The question was, is that Cobo Hall money? And that's yes. And that is the standard place where that is provided. That's for Doug. The Berrien Mental Health Authority, $500,000 is our regular annual appropriation. And then the other question was about Sabo Public Relations, and Brian, I think I'm gonna lean on you a little bit. So the resolution or the requisition was done. It's actually for next year. So it's an FY 2022 requisition. But I'm not 100% certain that the agreement that we did with them last year didn't expire. I've looked it over and I cannot find a term on that. So I know that it's their intention to have those Sabo do those services again. But we'll be following up then with a resolution and another agreement for 22. But this requisition then won't go into effect until then. So if I can remove it, if you're not comfortable with that being on there, or we'll just make sure that that's followed up for the second week of January. We'll be able to do a resolution to approve a revised agreement with an extension.
So I was the one that had asked question on that particular requisition. And so I just want to say I'm comfortable moving forward with it with the answers that we've received, just so long as there is that contract that has the dates in it that coincide with what we're approving for 2022. Thank you.
Okay. And then also, just as a follow-up, today on the agenda, we're going to have an added resolution. That added resolution is for the work plan for Michigan State University Extension, which we do every year. That is also on your requisition list. However, the work plan didn't get approved via resolution, which is supposed to happen. So I went to PHSC, they're the parent committee for them, talked to them about it, and they did sign off on that. So that will be an added resolution and will accompany that very similarly to what we're going to be doing with Sabo. Are there any other questions about the requisition list? Mr. Scott reached out to me. He said he's good. He doesn't have any questions. So if not, I will pass this round. And I think that's it for the requisitions. And then the next one's the board appointments.
Okay, thank you. Does everybody have the list of board appointments, either in paper or on your tablet? Okay. We'll do them in blocks by committee. The first group is recommended by PHS. So, Bob, do you want to just move those and then we'll vote them through?
These are appointments to the Department of Health and Human Services, as well as to the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission. First is Tiana Weller. She is a state appointment to the Department of Health and Human Services. And then we've got 4 going to the Southwest Michigan Planning Commission. First is Paul Pantaleo, second Dan Fetty, third Kristen Gunderson, and fourth Richard Remus. They've all been participating. They, as well as Tiana, have stellar attendance at various meetings. So I would make the motion to appoint them.
Very
to
good.
the
Is there
various
support?
bodies.
Support.
Supported by Bill, moved by Harrison, supported by Bill. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those individuals are appointed or reappointed as the case may be. Finance Committee is next. Madam Chair.
Thank you. Yes, as you can see on the paper that's before you, we have 2 different boards that we'll be making recommendations to. One is the Public Works Board. There are 4 members that are up for reappointment. Bill Smith, Rachel Bernard, Joshua Catham, and Daniel Stantage. And the other commission is the Planning Commission, and we have 2 members that we're looking for reappointment, and that's Rod Krieger and Gary Woods. The recommendation coming out of Finance Committee is that we would approve all of these members for reappointment. They've had great attendance and engagement with the respective boards that they serve on.
And
That
that's
is my
your
motion.
motion. Is there support?
Support.
Supported by Harrison. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those individuals are appointed or reappointed as the case may be. Admin, Dave.
Okay, Julie's going to read these for us.
Okay.
So from the administration committee, we have 4 different boards that we're recommending appointments to. The first being the Community Corrections Advisory Board. These are, on all of these boards except one is, these are specific appointments from specific groups. So for example, the first one, Corrections Advisory Boards, is a media person, and that's Julie Swinda. The Community Corrections Advisory Board, from the Mental Health Authority, Robert Annie. And then on the 911 Advisory Board, Audrey Lester, she was originally appointed in 19, filling a position, so she's pretty new to that group. Reappoint the 911 Advisory Board, the County Operations Committee, that's Caitlin Sampson, Todd Taylor, Michael Davidson, and then on the Operations Committee, Lieutenant Jeremiah Carlisle and Chris Swihart, to that board. Those are our recommendations.
And that is your motion.
That is my motion.
Is there support?
Support.
Moved by Julie, supported by Dave. Any discussion? I'm sorry, Werfel and Borath. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Those individuals are appointed or reappointed as the case may be. Last one is to the County Planning Commission. This apparently is my appointment. Commissioner Freeling, if you choose to accept, you're appointed for 3 more years to the Planning Commission. Is that all right? Okay, very good. That's done then. Okay, so next is public. No, we already did that one. The admin. Julie moved, Dave supported. Those were all voice votes. And then I just reappointed Terry to the Planning Commission. So now we're at the point of public comments regarding resolutions. And I know we have added a resolution on the work plan with MSU with cooperative extension. That resolution ends in 391. It's on my copy of the agenda. I don't know if everyone has it, but if not, it's the one that was described by Annette. It's something we do with cooperative extension every year. So again, public comments on resolutions are in order at this point. General public comments come later. Since there's not a long line of comments or resolutions, I think we'll go ahead and approve the consent calendar. Is there a motion to do that, including resolution ending in 391?
I move that we approve the consent calendar, including added resolution ending in 391.
Very good, thank you. Is there support? Supported by Borat. Any discussion? Yes, ma'am.
I just need to abstain from, on the requisition motion, B2121105, abstaining from requisition number 56143, 56279, with Correct Care Solutions WellPack, just out of abundance of caution.
Please write those down for me so then I can print them.
Yes.
Okay,
Mr. Chair, I just
Sir.
say at this point in time too, in the resolution, I'd like to thank MSU for all the help that they've given us, for the years. Thank you very much for that. I'd like to do the resolution and to Mr. Hackworth and to every staff. Thank you for being willing to serve
We'll do a roll call. I'll note the abstentions as to the two requisition items specified. Any other comments concerning the consent calendar? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Freeland,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Spiegelman,
Yes.
Jerry,
Yes.
Walrat,
Yes.
Workle,
Yes.
Yarborough.
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes,
Chair, you have 9 yeas.
thank you. We'll move on to committee reports, and personnel is first on the list.
We are the number one committee report. So thank you, Mr. Chairman. We had a significant number of items on our agenda. Advanced step hire request from animal control. We reviewed the monthly pension refunds. If you remember, these are people's monies that we're releasing for them to invest elsewhere. They have left employment of the county. We also reviewed and approved the quarterly retirements. And then also, as you currently acted on a collective bargaining settlement that ended in 2387. We also had a pension purchase of a former employee who's now come back to the county and then is buying their credited service. It was just a month, so it's not a big deal. But a little interesting twist on the pension system that we have in place. We also reviewed and approved the per diems, and then also the staffing level at the road department. This was included in their budget, and talked a bit about some of the wage changes that we've made at the road department and their ability to hire some new people. So that's, I think, going quite well. And then Commissioner Bell passed out to you. I'd like to direct your attention to a performance evaluation form that's entitled William A. Wolf in 2019. This is for your purposes to review and edit. It is time for us to review our administrator, Mr. Doucette. And so we're correcting the form. We'll make some changes to it based upon your input, as well as input from Mr. Doucette. So if you could even just write on it and then drop it off here at administration, then we'll compile it and put it in play. So he's been with us about 1.5 years, so it probably is time for us to determine whether we're going to keep him around. And so I'll be glad to answer any questions about it. We're just using the form that was last used for Bill Wall, and we'll make some changes in that. So looking for your input.
Questions for personnel? Okay, thanks, Bob.
We also did a couple resolutions for the health department, one dealing with Benton Harbor lead, and then also medical marijuana. And so we did review those in detail and approve those. And that would conclude our report.
All right, very good. Dave?
Yeah, thank you. Our Steve Brangeli came in, our prosecutor, and along with Carolyn. I don't remember her last name. I did get her last name, and Jen wasn't sure how to spell it. But anyway, she gave us a good report on victim advocacy and how their office is helping sexual assault victims, especially the older ones who don't get a lot of help normally. We do a lot for the younger kids, but not a lot's done for the older people of sexual assault. And when something happens, it doesn't matter if it's 2 PM or 2 AM, they get called and sent out so that they're right away to help them, give their reports and to get through that difficult time with the police and everybody asking them questions. So she gave us a good report, and their office is really moving in that direction to help those people to make that easier for them to come forward, because a lot of them there's so much fear in them that they just don't want to come forward. Steve says it's been a very busy time since he last met with us. They're still whittling away on the backlog of trials that went undone because of COVID. They said at one time, I think we were 1,200 behind. We're doing 2 to 4 a week, which keeps them very, very busy. He's short-staffed, which doesn't help. He just lost one of his better people to possibly motherhood, but she's probably not coming back, but he's leaving out some hope because she is a very good attorney and he'd hate to lose her, but he feels if she has to, stay home with the child, then that's probably the best thing too. They're having a lot of trouble because it takes so much time for the video redacting on getting that information. And they said just one 5 or 6 hour video takes 8 or 9 hours of editing to take things out, redact things that, cannot be posted in public and things like that. So sheriff says the same thing. There's so much time spent. They just feel that one person doing that right now, plus attorneys doing it on their own. I guess the people that we have doing it is about 20%, and the attorneys who are involved are picking up the 80% of the going through those videos. He's trying to get people to apply for the jobs. He's down short 3 people and probably another 4th coming up. He's trying some creative thinking and trying to get people to apply, going to some of the law schools, Notre Dame in Michigan and those locally and those not so local, but having a hard time just to get applicants right now. So he's having a tough time with that. As far as the schools go, he's meeting with the school superintendents and personnel on a daily basis. All the investigations that he's done regarding kids and the threats, everyone is taken very seriously. He goes and he's trying to get those done and as quickly as possible. The kids who are doing this just don't understand how crazy things are and how serious this is being taken right now. And it's a number that seems to be going up every day. More and more of these threats are coming in from local schools. He's trying to stay on top of it as best they can. They're bringing in mental health people to try and speak with these kids to determine where they're coming from right off the bat. He said some of them are just joking around. Other times it's a very serious threat but they have to take them all seriously, and they don't understand that. There's no, one instance he gave us was just 2 kids talking about hunting in Michigan. Well, hunting in Michigan is something that's been happening for hundreds of years, but until they look at it, what the kids are putting in writing is hurting them badly. So have some patience. He's doing everything he can right now to get these things through the courts. The judges are, and the sheriff and everybody's trying to get these things, in line and going as quickly as you can. But they do take time, and they do take a lot of people to go through these. So, Julie,
I think you got it all.
all right. Any questions?
Any questions for admin? Okay, I didn't quite mute my phone. I'm gonna move it away from the mic till it stops ringing. Tell my daughter to call me later. Doug or Shelley, did you have anything you wanted to add? I know you had input on agenda items. Okay.
In my finance.
Right. Okay, just wanted to make sure. Okay, all right, well, that's come. Got it. Well, that just happens to be now, so.
Thank you. We would like to start with a presentation about a resolution on farmland lease. Commissioner John Hinkleman.
Very briefly, and I'll do this very briefly. The county, as you know, has a small piece of property on Napier Avenue, just next to the health department. We currently lease that to a farmer for agricultural purposes, and it's an annual lease, and so it comes up every year if the rent needs to be adjusted. The Finance Committee decided not to adjust it, to leave it where it was at this point in time. And they pay in current market rates, and so I think we're perfectly fine with that. So that's the report.
Thank you very much. And we had Treasurer Shelley White and Director Doug James of the Finance Department came in and talked to us and gave a year end of our general fund. And through October 21, we were at 5.3 million. um, than a year ago. And now at November, I'm sorry, yeah, November 21, we're at 97% of our collection. And so that's, we're not over, we're under, which is good. I'm glad they're here so that if there are things that need to be made more clear, you can help me with that. But we're in good financial condition, and our tax collection is down about $50,000. Then we have a contingency fund that the beginning of each year we put in usually $1,500,000. And this year, as of November 2021, we have a balance of $747,262. This will be moved to a special fund according to the state and chart of accounts. We had a good explanation. There was something we wondered about the commissary funds at the jail, and Deb James explained that to us. We had another item on Deb James and Shelley White's agenda, and it's from John Axe, delinquent tax funds and tax foreclosure. If required in our paperwork, we had a resolution that we had to sign and pass. And it's, that fund is in excess of $4.2 million. And based on John Axe's recommendation and state law, we're placing that in the revolving fund. Doug, are you there? Yeah, help us, help me.
Act 206, Public Act 206, in which Mr. Axe had created a model that we were to use. Shelley and I spent a little time trying to interpret that. Also what the state regs say, what Berrien County's county policy says, and we had an excess, a surplus we calculated in the delinquent tax revolving fund of about 4.2 million. We came to you today with a resolution recommending that what was originally budgeted of the $3.8 million would be the transfer. That resolution is before you today. And this is to comply with Act 206.
Thank you. And our treasurer, Shelley White, is going to go out for a loan during the year, and she did in 2021, also 2022. And that is about $11.5 million. And that's to make the communities whole. When it's time for the taxes to be over, we send each community the amount that they would receive if everybody paid their bills. And then it's melded in and made to balance. And it is a loan, and we pay it back. We used to pay it back monthly, and now it is, I don't know if it's the state or quite how it is, it's paid 2 times a year, the amount of the loan. And by a certain period of time, it's paid, it's back down to 0. Then the next thing I'd like to tell you about is, this is a resolution from the Berrien County Road Department, and it is their budget. And there was a concern about, would we balance or whatever? And I'd like to tell you that the Berrien County Road Department is at 0. They are balanced. And the projected ending fund balance is 14,012. What is that? 14,012,290.
Million.
Is that million or thousand? That's million.
$299.
Yeah. Thank you. $14,012,299 is the fund balance of the road department. And they will not use the fund balance. It just starts at 0 for 2022. Um, And then we have a budget. Is that something that we approve, a resolution we approve for the road department? So they're in good condition. It's a blessing. Then I'd like to let you know that we had two waivers that came to us. And one was for live scan plus fingerprinting equipment. And that is for the jail. The amount is $32,552, and that is for three of those machines. And what we found is our machine, one of them stopped working, and to repair it would have been $8,000, and it is of an age that there aren't even any parts for it. So the best thing for us to do was to order these three machines, and we need to have them as soon as possible. So in our committee, we consented, and they will be ordered, hopefully. Then the next thing is Treasurer White has the responsibility of posting for 2 weeks, publishing information about the taxes and the condition. And she has put it in a number of smaller papers trying to save money, but there are so many other communities that do not see it. And so she must go with the Herald Palladium, which is the most widely circulated newspaper in Berrien County, and that amount is $18,000. But it will be done, and we went to that. The next thing is we had bid openings, and this was for the road department for tree removal. And we sent it out to 4 companies and 2 responded. One is Hearst of Baroda, Michigan, and there are 2 sets. Set number 1 is $39,975. Set 2 is $34,615. The next company was Williams A1 Trees of Dewashak, Michigan. Their first set of bid was $42,625. The second set was $43,625. And a motion was made, and it will go to the road department for them to look at. We have a special motion, but for them to look at and to choose the lowest bid if it fits the requirements. If not, we ask that they come back to our committee with that, why they need to do something different. The next bid we had was for heating, and this is for the road department also, in the Eau Claire garage, and the heater's not working at all. And we sent it out to 6 bidders, and 1 company responded, and that was Herman and Getz. The amount that they bid was $50,400. And again, the same motion that if it does not fit the requirements, then they must come back to the finance committee to do something else. And I think that's all that I have. Please, you have anything to add?
Any questions for the loafing finance committee? Wow, that's a lot of stuff.
End of the year.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, we're not meeting the rest of the month.
Oh, and the finance committee is on call so that on December 30th, we have it set that should there be a need, we will meet in person or we will meet by Zoom. So we're not through yet.
It's me, Matt, for a
Yes,
second. Commissioner Scott has one comment he'd like to add for the finance committee. Oh, please, finance is the #1 committee.
Thank you.
All right. Yes. I just was made aware that we had a resolution that was supposed to be on the agenda, but for circumstances beyond anyone's control, didn't get on the agenda. You know, we usually try to get these things put together by the end of business on Tuesday. Sometimes this happens. Commissioner Harrison, the PHS chair, it's a PHS motion. What is your pleasure?
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. We did talk about this during our meeting, and I neglected to bring it forward. Just if you remember back when we did closed session regarding labor agreements, we did offer a proposal to the police officer labor council. They represent public safety dispatchers and call takers for the 911 center. So last night late, they did Committee did approve the proposal, so we would now like to ratify that here today.
Right, and since it's the last regularly scheduled meeting of the year, we've got to do it, or come back and have a special meeting for that purpose. Or we could reconvene after lunch and you could all get $28 for sticking around all day.
I would make that motion. We approve right now.
Okay, so procedurally, I'm taking your motion as a motion to amend the agenda to allow us to place another resolution into the agenda. And Madam Clerk, that requires a 2/3 minimum majority vote of those present today. So the resolution number is
E2112390.
so this motion is to amend the agenda to add that resolution so that it can be considered today by the board. Is there any discussion on the motion to amend the agenda? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Harrison,
Yes.
Hinkleman,
Yes.
Majerick,
Yes.
Walrath,
Yes.
Worfel,
Yes.
Yarborough,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Freeling,
Yes.
Elliott,
Yes,
Chair, you have 9 yeas.
thank you. Now, the agenda having been amended, we can consider this added resolution that does not appear on the written agenda. And the resolution has to be read aloud. Thankfully, it's a short one. If it had been 3 or 4 pages, I definitely would have passed it on. But after it's read aloud, and presumably you move the resolution, and then there's support, there will be an opportunity for comment by the board, but also for public comment, since you would have missed out on it during the regular time for commenting on resolution. So with that,
Great. To the Honorable Board of Commissioners of Berrien County, Michigan, your County Personnel and Human Services Committee respectfully recommends the adoption of the following resolution. Whereas the Police Officers Labor Council represents the public safety dispatchers and call takers for the purposes of collective bargaining, and whereas the current collective bargaining agreement is set to expire on December 31st, 2021, and whereas the parties have reached a tentative agreement governing the terms and conditions of employment for the period of January 1, 2022 through December 31st, 2024. And whereas the union has now ratified the tentative agreement, now therefore it is hereby resolved that the Berrien County Board of Commissioners approve the ratification of the collective bargaining agreement with the Police Officers Labor Council. And so I make that motion, Mr. Chair.
thank you. Is there support?
Support.
Moved by Harrison, supported by Bell. Any discussion by members of this board? Any public discussion as to that resolution? Hearing none, will the clerk please call the roll?
Hinkleman,
Yes.
Majerick,
Yes.
Walrath,
Yes.
Worfel,
Yes.
Yarborough,
Yes.
Bell,
Yes.
Freeling,
Yes.
Harrison,
Yes.
Elliott.
Yes,
Mr. Chair, you have 9 yeas.
thank you. Back to the next item on the agenda, that's commissioner reports. Just go clockwise around. John?
Report, happy holidays.
You too.
Briefly, I attended planning commission meeting. We had a presentation this morning on the master plan, which was the main part of what our planning commission meeting was on Tuesday. And so just kind of reviewing that and what the next process will be. And that was presented to this board this morning. I also was a part of the Brownfield Redevelopment Authority meeting. I'm gonna punt it to Mike, since he's the chair of that board, but we had some updates with regards to some of the brownfield redevelopment projects happening within Berrien County. And then lastly, on Tuesday, I was invited to come and be a representative for Berrien County in my role as the Broadband Task Force Committee to sort of celebrate a milestone and a great opportunity within our community. Comcast had been working with the task force and some of the different community centers throughout Berrien County, and they now have 7 locations offering what they call their lift zones for free Wi-Fi for the public to be able to have access. 5 of our senior centers are those lift zones. We also have the Boys and Girls Club in Benton Harbor and the New Troy Community Center as one of the other ones. And along with that comes with computers so people can have access to the internet, and also digital literacy training if anybody has need of how to navigate. So that was a wonderful thing to be a part of, and it's great to see that digital divide getting a little smaller. So that's my report. Thank you.
No report.
I just want to thank all the department heads for Berrien County for another challenging but overall good year.
Yeah, Monday I attended with Brian, who attended Area Agency on Aging, their yearly meeting in December, this last Monday, and a lot of it was focused on Lynn and her retirement. We had the resolution that we signed last week and presented to her, and she was very appreciative. Thanks you all. And it went very well.
I newly appointed to the new group formed Berrien Trails group that's working on a master plan. We had a meeting this week, an initial meeting. They're putting a master plan together for those trails, which will include walking, bicycling, water, and equestrian trails. So a lot of good stuff going to come out of that group. First quarter, they're going to, of 2022, they're going to have some public hearings. So watch for information on that. We'll get that information out so people can give input as to what they would like to see, where they'd like to see things like that on those types of trails. So good group.
I have nothing to report.
And I just want to say happy holidays to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. Administrator, anything to add?
Yeah. So just a big welcome to the guy in the back of the room. So Thaddeus will be starting first week of January. I think it's January 3rd. And on behalf of your staff, I can tell you how happy the departments are to get Thaddeus in-house. They're really looking forward to working with him. And I personally am looking forward to working with you. So Thaddeus, welcome.
Just say I'm honored to have been selected. Thank you so much for that opportunity, and I look forward to working with you all on your important work and the dedicated staff. Thank you.
Thank you.
The last just bit of information is Commissioner Freeling forwarded a note I pushed out to the full board. There will be a resource fair this afternoon from 4 to 7 at Benton Harbor High School. There will be a variety of information on health services, food assistance, water use instruction, nutrition options, etc. But I've pushed that out to the full board, and it's from 4 to 7 at the Benton Harbor High School. Those are my comments, sir.
Very good. Thank you. Okay, we're now at the point where we receive general public comment. Anything under the sun in 2 minutes or less, just come up to where there's a mic to amplify your voice, say your name and where you're from. Not your street address, just like name and Stevensville or Lincoln Township or something like that. Anyone wish to be heard? Yes, ma'am.
I was here before. You guys know I give my name and I say I live in Berrien County because I was the one who reported before Mr. Elliott wasn't here that I was vandalized the one time I did give where I live. I'm here. A couple of things, and I just want to say.
Your name.
I said Tracy.
I didn't hear you.
At Berrien County. Okay. I would like just to say, because I have two things, something came up this week. And since Mr. Volrath mentioned that he works with the prosecutor meeting with the school superintendents, if I don't get to it, maybe I could just have a moment with you afterwards to make a suggestion about how some of the open public meetings are being handled. A lot of the conflict that is resulting, and we were at the Buchanan one where the police were called and it really didn't need to be because it was over whether or not somebody would give their name and where they lived. Okay, and I have the the Michigan School Board Association book that talks about Ask Brad, who's an attorney, and I can show you in here where a lot of the things these boards are mistakenly thinking they can ask for or prevent people from speaking, because publicly, the president actually did tell somebody in that meeting when he asked, because attorneys tell people how to ask things. He said, are you preventing me from my First Amendment right to speak at this public meeting? And the president actually said, yes. Crazy, but he did it. If you guys want to open yourself to lawsuits, that's a good way to do it. So I'm just going to maybe make a few recommendations about that. But what I really wanted to talk about was these quarantines, all the threats you guys are getting in the schools. This is not starting with Oxford School. This has to do with the quarantines, locking down the kids, isolating them. The quarantines aren't working. The masks that the health department is blackmailing the schools to do to get the quarantines down. And basically what they're doing is telling the school boards, you put masks on the kids and we won't make them quarantine. That is not what's happening. I know somebody at St. Joe Schools who they're still quarantining kids, even though they've been in masks since August. To say that we'll get the quarantine numbers down, what you need to do is allow the parents to choose for themselves.
Thank you, ma'am.
I think you guys would want.
We do, and we want to hear from as many folks as we can. Yes, sir.
I heard you. That's your phone?
No, that wasn't my phone.
That was our phone.
That was a 2-minute timer.
Oh, okay. I was at the meeting on Monday there, honoring Lynn.
Mr. Peltzer, or what?
Oh, Peltzer from, Hager.
Hager, thank you.
Also, I didn't make it here the last meeting because I had previous engagement. Now, you guys made an announcement, you're gonna change the schedule. That's, I got it on my computer on Monday or Tuesday. So the one time you waited till I got to the door down here, you were meeting down here. I didn't like that. Remember about 6 weeks ago? Now, what you got on that screen up there, that's what I watched. I watched the meeting that you had last week on a Saturday or sometime because I couldn't come here, I had another engagement. Now I suggest you keep that going, or maybe find some way that people can communicate, or I don't know, like we had it when you guys didn't have a meeting. We had it on the screen there, and we were able to type something in there. Maybe figure something out like that so that people can communicate instead of just sitting there and watching. At least I got a glimpse of what was going on. The interview with the lawyers, that was excellent. Okay, so keep it up. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard? Yes, sir.
Matt Belcher, Stevensville. It's true that they're still quarantining. A teacher told my wife and I that she has 3 students in class and they all have masks on. The situation we found ourselves in has brought us surprises. We as citizens of Berrien County and parents of children in our public schools have had some pleasant ones. We've been surprised at how some people have shown they want to uphold the law, want to pursue the truth, be transparent and do their jobs well. Jobs given them by the voters. Good surprises. We've also had unpleasant surprises, surprised, even appalled and shocked at how others skirt the law, evade and elude it, willfully turn a blind eye to what's true, continuously refuse to be transparent, and avoid doing their jobs and fulfilling their responsibilities. Many elected to do so by the voters. Bad surprises. The Board of Commissioners has the job of oversight of the health department. Parents and citizens have given tireless effort to get to the bottom of the masking, etc., of our children in schools. And discovering that this is the lawful responsibility of the commissioners, we want to pass that baton to you. We ask for a hearing of Guy Miller and his part in cooperation with the schools, especially Lakeshore Board, Greg Eating, and their secret meeting with Courtney Davis. Now is your opportunity to show us which of you will uphold the law, pursue truth and transparency, and do your jobs well, fulfilling the responsibility entrusted to you by the voters. As indicated, we are watching, as this will make it clear what your positions are, but we are not against you. We support you. We voted for you and we are with you. And we love good surprises.
Thank you, sir. Does anyone else wish to be heard? Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Julie Piak, Michigan State University Extension. I thought I'd wait till now because I know your meeting was quite long. You've been here since 8:30. So just a couple comments. I want to thank Annette Christie very much, Christie, for getting the plan of work on the agenda this morning. We worked closely with Annette, and I really do appreciate her help and assistance in all the back work that we do together. So I just wanted to say I'm thankful to her. I'm thankful for the YouTube projection of the meetings. I feel like we've all so close. I've been with you every Thursday morning, and I feel like I know it's nice to see the front of your faces instead of the backs of your heads. Continue doing that. It's wonderful. People like me who have to travel 7 counties, and it's great. So I really appreciate that. I'm also thankful to the MSU Extension Elves who put the gifts before you this morning. This is our annual treat for those of you who are newer commissioners, and for Brian. The team does it every year. They use gloves, masks, and our fancy kitchen that you provide for us in the extension office, and they took pictures. So I just want to send our grateful thanks for your support through the year, and hope you enjoy those treats. As part of the work plan you adopted this morning, I owe you an annual report, and I look forward to providing that to you in a meeting where the agenda is maybe not so long. Maybe give us 10, 15 minutes to introduce staff and give a nice overview of the 2021 accomplishments, January, February sometime. And finally, we look forward to hosting a meeting perhaps out at our building in 2022. And I'll work with Annette to get that arranged. So thank you very much. Good to see you all and happy holidays.
Thank you, Julie. Is this a Rice Krispie treat cake?
I think it is indeed. Yeah.
Oh my. And we definitely will join you this summer, especially if there's food. Okay. Yeah, food is great. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Melissa Clapper, St. Joe Charter Township. Just wanted to take time at the end of this year to thank all of you for doing the jobs that you do and putting forth the effort to keep your constituents informed. It is really appreciated. Also, want to thank you for presenting information to the constituents this morning from the guy from Riverwood was very good. We need to know that. It's kind of hard to keep track of everything that's going on everywhere. Also to our sheriff and all our law enforcement people that have worked extra hard and been really just, kind of called way beyond the call of duty. Thank you for taking time to hire people and that you believe are important. You just did so with Mr. Thaddeus. That was a great interview with both people last week. And I'm glad to see that you're still employing people that you believe in. You believe in their ability to do their job well. That includes the health department, which has taken a lot of hits from people that really can't quite understand the job of the health department and the fact that their job is to keep us, and it encompasses so much more than just masks, and that they have been under fire for a very long time. And so I appreciate the fact that you continue to hire people that you believe in science, believe in their job, believe in their background, and I hope you continue to do so. Happy holidays to all of you.
Thank you. Sir, I think you were about to come up and she beat you to it. So why don't you make your move?
Thank you. My name is Sean Hill. I live here in the city of St. Joe. Wasn't really going to say anything, but since the 3 emails were read off this morning about the 3 people who support face masks and quarantines and stuff like that, I am a parent who does not support those at all. And I just wanted to voice that publicly. Just like I've talked in the other meetings, I really believe we need to get away from the science proves that these kids do not die from this. It's very minimal, very, very minimal. And we need to get away from these face masks. It's affecting their education. And as administrators of this county, you guys should be very responsible in making sure that they're getting that proper education. And it's not happening with the face mask on. So just plain and simple. And I'm worried about the mental health. It's becoming more and more of an issue with these kids. And on top of that, throw the quarantines in there. They're becoming isolated, and it's not good. Um, and I hear this. I got a daughter that's in in the St. Joe schools, and she sees it, you know. And for a 15-year-old to be able to see that, be smart enough to figure out what's going on herself. I mean, she was one of the ones that was first started out. It's just a mask, you know. But now she's like, this is ridiculous, you know. Kids aren't even wearing them right. They're wearing them down below their chin. This has got to stop. You know, it's affecting their social life too. Appreciate your time. Merry Christmas to all.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard? Other business? Any other business? Okay. Announcements and reminders. If you come next week, Adolph, you'll be the only one here. So we'll look forward to seeing everybody on the 6th of January. That's the next time we meet, unless something comes up and we have to schedule a meeting. And of course, finance very well may be meeting as a committee on the 30th to tie up the year-end loose ends. Yes, ma'am.
It's an organizational meeting, the first one they meet again.
Right.
So there won't be, I don't know if you will be having a board meeting.
Well, it's a board meeting.
Board meeting, but it's 8:35 versus 10:30.
Right. Thank you. Yeah, every year,
I just thought,
first Thursday, we have to have an organizational meeting. And so we won't have a 10:30 meeting on that day. Yes, we will break and do committees. I mean,
you also
if
have to
something
elect a new
urgent
vice
comes up, we can post
chair.
on a day's notice and schedule a meeting, put it on the website and deal with it if we have to. But otherwise, absent some calamity, the plan is to return to the regular agenda format the following Thursday, the 13th. So basically 4 weeks from now. So we're closed on the 23rd and the 24th. We're open on the 30th, but we're not meeting because that's the 5th Thursday. Closed on the 31st. Of course, closed Christmas Day and New Year's Day. So with that, till we meet again, may you have a joyful, happy, and a blessed holiday. We are adjourned.